You know what's really frustrating? The solutions to problems facing American society are easy, and they are the right solutions to the problems we face. So it's not that we don't know what would make things better for the masses. We do. We are just constantly stifled by those beholden to greedy, powerful interests. And that says a lot about our political class. And that says a lot about the change that we need in our political system, where our representatives represent our interests and not special interests and corporate interests because of getting money from these sources. The solutions are tax the rich. The ultra rich pay less percent in taxes than your average teacher or your average worker making $50,000 to $60,000 a year. So they are getting taxed at a rate much, much higher than people like Warren Buffett, Elon Musk, Bill Gates, and the 800 or 1,000 plus multi-billionaires in the United States. I am of a left lean when it comes fiscally speaking, because I understand that anything as basic as public roads and a fire station and a police station, those things are provided by the state. Safety services, basic public works services. These are basic social services that we just sort of take for granted as part of society, but they didn't exist. They had to be implemented at some point when populations grew and when it came to a point that we needed solution instead of starving people out or killing them by not providing them with the medicine they need. So taxing the rich is the simplest solution to the budget deficit we have without cutting necessary programs that hold up our society. Lift the Social Security tax cap on incomes over 250K. When you do that, you automatically bring more money into the Social Security system and you solve the insolvency problem. It's quite simple how you can solve that problem. You just take the cap off, and for every dollar made, no matter how much money you make, you pay Social Security taxes. And that helps fund the Social Security system. It creates a level playing field and it provides a safety net for Americans who need it. Stop ballooning the police state and invest in social safety net programs for civilians. Stop violating the Constitution and follow the rule of law. That's what we need in our domestic society. We need affordability. We need lowered cost of living. We need to be able to have food that's affordable. We need energy that's affordable. We need electricity and power that's affordable. We need gas prices that's affordable. We need to be able to get jobs that are stable. We need to be able to make our budgets so prices aren't volatile because of tariffs. These are the things that we need, and these are simple solutions that both the executive, federal executive, and the federal judiciary and the federal legislature seems to have just dropped the ball on. And something that we need to keep reminding people that these things need to happen. Like our position as Americans towards Russia should be as simple as get the fuck out of Ukraine. That is the simplest plan. Because it wasn't Ukraine that attacked Russia. And the day Russians leave Ukraine, Ukraine will stop attacking Russia. And that is as simple as that. The judiciary, our judiciary, needs to be upgraded from the horse and buggy age to the internet age, it is doing that little by little, but not when it comes to ruling on issues as important as birthright citizenship, due process procedures, violations of constitutional rights of persons, and when it comes to things like tariffs, that's having a huge economic impact, not only on consumers, but also on businesses. Costco, I believe, is the latest company to sue the government on tariffs. While the tariffs case now sits with the Supreme Court, it has been about a month since they have heard the tariffs oral arguments. The basic things that we need is for Congress to take back its powers from Donald Trump. We need Citizens United to be overturned so corporate money doesn't flood into our politics and greed and power doesn't become the onus on which politicians come to power. Their ambitions being fulfilled by the money and power. That is not why public servants need to come to office. Public servants need to come to office to represent the people for the greater good, to represent the constituents that have voted for them, as well as those who didn't, the whole constituency. That's what representatives do. We need to get rid of presidential immunity. Trump v. United States needs to be overturned. Nothing in the Constitution gives presidents any sort of immunity. But the Constitution is very, very clear on what it vests immunity upon. And that is members of Congress when they are on legislative business or when they're speaking on the House or Senate floor by way of the speech or debate clause. It's important to remember that our founding fathers knew about immunity, but there is no immunity in the Constitution for the president. Reintroduce a regulatory doctrine akin to Chevron, which allows regulatory agencies to be the better executors and deciders when it comes to what regulations would best serve the people, whether that be in the food, whether that be in EPA, whether that be in transportation. Whatever those regulatory regimes, the regulatory bureaucracies need to be given their regulatory authority some discretion instead of the judiciary holding on to that power and thereby taking away from the independence of these regulatory agencies that Congress has written into law. We need robust Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, SNAP. We need to fund that instead of funding the DHS Army. These are not difficult solutions. They're just solutions that the rich, powerful, and entitled won't allow because it would mean that they would be just a little less rich. It's as simple as that. We need to remember that these solutions are easy and these solutions are simple if you take away the greed and power mongering and hate mongering of Donald Trump's regime and what the Republican Party has turned into under MAGA. So we need to push back, we need to be loud, and we need to let them know that these basic needs are not hard to get. These basic things that our government needs to reform are not hard reforms to make. They are simple solutions. They just need people who have the public interest at heart and not their own pocketbook interest and not special interest. With that said, thank you for listening. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon.